Dad, do not come. Nora wants only family on this trip.
I read my son's message, with the red felt sail on the blue bag pressed between both hands. My late wife had made it for our granddaughter.
I had paid for every cabin on that cruise. Then I noticed a business charge on my card that I had never approved. I stood there with my phone in one hand and the sail bag in the other. For a long minute, the thing that hurt most was not losing a vacation. It was my son using his wife's name to tell me I was no longer family, while using my money for something he had not explained. Then I read the confirmation again. The cruise itself was paid for. I had done that months earlier as Lucy's graduation gift. I had booked 2 connecting cabins, a small art program at sea, and one dinner near the stern where my wife and I had watched the moon come up on our anniversary trip years before. I had paid the fare in full because I wanted Lucy to have one beautiful week before she left for college. The paper on my printer was something else. It was for a private hospitality package, a business meeting room, and a dinner for people whose names I did not know. The charge was linked to the card I had used for the family booking. I called the travel agent before I replied to Caleb. "I do not want to cancel the cruise," I told her. "My granddaughter is still going. I paid for that gift, and she has done nothing wrong. But I did not approve anything called a hospitality package." The agent asked me to hold while she checked the file. I looked at the blue sail bag again. My wife had sewn it from the last piece of canvas left over from an old porch awning. Lucy had been 9 when she made it. She had chosen the red felt sail on the front herself. My wife had stitched it crooked on purpose because Lucy said a perfect sail looked lonely. When the agent returned, her voice was careful. "The family reservation is secure, Mr. Price. The additional package is pending your authorization. It has not been charged yet. If you decline it, the basic sailing, cabins, and Lucy's art program remain unchanged." That was the first thing I needed to know. "Decline it," I said. She paused. "The person who requested it may be disappointed. Then he can be disappointed with his own money." I did not say it loudly. I did not need to. A few minutes later, Caleb called. He did not start with an apology. He started with a sigh, as if I had called him from the wrong side of a grocery store line. "Dad, why are you making changes to the booking?" "I am not making changes to the booking. I am refusing a charge I did not make. It is just a courtesy hold. It is part of a meeting I have lined up." "What meeting? You would not understand the details." I sat down at my kitchen table. The chair across from me was the one my wife used to pull out when Lucy came over after school. It was still slightly lower than the others because one felt pad had worn away years ago. "Try me," I said. Caleb told me he had a potential investor. They were going to talk while the ship was at sea. The hospitality package would give them somewhere private to meet, plus a dinner where he could introduce people properly. "I thought this was Lucy's graduation trip," I said. "It is. This would not interfere with that." "Then why is my card attached to it?" He was quiet for a moment. "Because it is a family thing. The investor likes to see that a founder has support. I support you when you tell me the truth. You always make it sound like I am asking for charity. You asked me to pay for a cruise. I did. You did not ask me to pay for strangers at a business dinner." He exhaled through his nose. I knew that sound. It was the sound Caleb made when he was a boy and had already decided a rule was unfair because it applied to him. "Fine," he said. "Forget it. But do not turn this into something ugly for Nora and Lucy." Then he ended the call. I sat there a while longer. I had spent 30 years matching freight invoices against purchase orders at a county supply warehouse. It was not glamorous work. Most days it meant noticing that 6 boxes of tile became 8 on paper, or that a delivery date had moved, even though someone swore it had not. That work taught me something simple. A paper trail rarely begins with the biggest lie. It begins with a small line someone hopes you will not read. The hospitality package was that line. I wanted to call Caleb back and ask why Nora supposedly wanted only family if he needed me to look like family in front of an investor. But anger can make a person ask questions he is not ready to hear answered. I put my phone down instead. I carried the blue sailbag into the living room and set it beside the chair where I read in the evenings. Lucy's sketchbook made a soft square shape inside it. I had promised her I would bring it aboard myself. That promise was still true in one way. I had not yet decided what I would do about the trip. But I had decided what I would not do. I would not take Lucy's week away to punish her father. By noon, the travel agent called again. She said Caleb had asked whether the hospitality package could be moved to another card. She could not discuss his finances with me. She only needed to know whether I wanted my name removed from the pending authorization. Yes, I said. Do you want to cancel your own cabin? I looked through the front window at the maple tree my wife had planted the year Lucy was born. Its leaves had begun to turn at the edges. Not yet, I said. Keep the cabin as it is until tomorrow. I will decide after I speak to my family. The agent thanked me and ended the call. Before I could set down my phone, a voice message arrived from Lucy. Grandpa, Dad said you changed your mind and do not want to come because you are upset with us. Is that true? I made room in the bag for your book. Her voice had the careful tone young people use when they have already been told an adult is disappointed in them. I listened twice. Then I wrote back, I have not cancelled your trip, sweetheart. I am not upset with you. I will see you before you board. I did not explain more. Lucy deserved the truth, but she did not deserve the adult version of it while she was trying to pack watercolor paper for a vacation. Caleb had not only used Nora's name to keep me away. He had begun using my silence to make Lucy believe I had chosen to leave her. I sent Caleb one message. I paid for Lucy's trip. I will not pay for a business event I was not told about. I will speak to Nora myself before I decide anything else. His answer came almost at once. Do not drag Nora into this. She wanted space from you. Respect that. That sentence had a neatness to it that bothered me. Caleb had always been good at putting difficult things into clean language. When he was young, he could turn a broken window into a lesson about the wind. When he was older, he could turn a missed loan payment into a temporary timing issue. The words changed. The habit did not. I did not reply. Instead, I called Nora. She answered on the third ring, sounding distracted and tired. Harlan. I was just trying to finish packing. Is everything all right? I almost asked her whether she preferred I stay home. The question was sitting in my throat, but I heard the strain in her voice. And I remembered how quickly a wounded person can make another person defend himself before he understands the wound. I received a message from Caleb this morning, I said. He told me you wanted only family on the cruise. There was silence. Then Nora said, What are you talking about? I read the message exactly as Caleb had written it. When I finished, she did not speak for several seconds. Harlan, she said at last. Caleb told me you were staying home because the ship would be too much for you. He said you had decided you wanted a quiet week instead. My hand tightened around the edge of the table. You did not ask him to keep me off the trip? No. I thought you were disappointed, but I thought it was your choice. The hurt changed shape then. It did not lessen. It simply stopped being aimed where Caleb had pointed it. I am sorry I believed the message before I called you, I said. Nora let out a small breath. What is going on? I told her only what I knew, the extra package, the request tied to my card, Caleb's talk about an investor. I did not call her husband a thief. I did not tell her he had lied about her until she had already heard the lie in his own words. Nora listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, He told me the investor was a possibility. He said he might have one dinner with him, but he made it sound like the man happened to be on the same sailing. Did he tell you my name was attached to it? No. That answer made the kitchen feel colder. Nora was not a fool. She worked long shifts at a physical therapy office, kept the bills straight, and had been the person who called me after my wife died, when Caleb could not find the words. If Caleb had kept this from her, he had not done it because she would not understand. He had done it because she would. I do not want Lucy dragged into this, Nora said quietly. Neither do I. She has been talking about this trip for months. I know. The basic reservation remains paid. Her art program remains paid. I have no intention of changing either one. What about your cabin? I do not know yet. Nora was quiet again. Then she said, I will talk to Caleb. Please do not do it on my account, I told her. Talk to him because he used your name without asking. After we hung up, I stood at the sink with both hands resting on the counter. Outside, a delivery truck groaned at the corner and moved on. The ordinary sound of it steadied me. My wife used to say that a family could survive one bad decision if the person who made it stopped pretending it was everyone else's fault. I did not know whether Caleb still had that kind of honesty in him. An hour later, he arrived at my house without knocking. He still had the key I had given him when my wife was alive. I had never minded him using it before. Seeing him come through the side door that afternoon made me understand how a key can change without changing shape. What did you say to Nora? He demanded. I told her what you told me. You had no right to make her anxious before a trip. You used her name to exclude me. I was trying to keep things simple. No, you were trying to keep people separate. Caleb looked toward the living room and saw the blue sailbag beside my chair. You are still going? He asked. I have not decided. You should not come now. It would be awkward. For whom? He rubbed his forehead. Dad, I have been working on this deal for almost a year. I need this investor to understand that I have a stable family behind me. I need him to see that I am not carrying every risk alone. And you thought the way to show that was to tell me I was not family. It was not about you. That sentence landed harder than the text had. I looked at my son, at the loosened collar of his shirt and the red mark the steering wheel had left across his palm. He was not a monster. He was a man who had spent too long making fear sound like a plan. What do you need from me? I asked. His eyes moved away from mine. Just be there at one dinner. Let him think we are looking at things together. You do not have to promise money. You do not have to say much. The investor saw your name in the presentation. Caleb swallowed. I thought I could bring you to one dinner, let him see us together, get through the meeting, and explain everything afterward. After he committed? Caleb did not answer. That was answer enough. I will not lie to someone for you, I said. You would not be lying. You have helped me before. I helped you with a down payment years ago. I helped when Lucy was born. I paid for this cruise. None of that makes me your backer. His face changed then. The pleading went out of it. You always find a way to make me feel small, he said. I am telling you no. Those are different things. He took one step toward the blue sailbag. Lucy is going to be crushed if this trip falls apart. The trip is not falling apart. Your extra package is. You think she will understand that? I think she should never have to. For a second, I thought Caleb might say something he could not take back. Instead, he picked up his keys from the counter. If you show up tomorrow, do not expect anyone to be glad to see you, he said. Then he left through the side door, letting it swing shut behind him. I stood in the quiet kitchen and realized I had been given a choice I did not want. I could cancel my cabin, stay home, and let Caleb tell whatever version of the story made him feel safe. Or I could go to the terminal, even if I never stepped onto the ship, and let Lucy see that I had not disappeared from her life because her father found it convenient. That night, I took my good jacket from the closet and pressed the wrinkles out of it with my hand. I placed Lucy's card inside the blue sailbag. I added the small box of watercolor pencils my wife had bought before she got sick, saving them for a trip she knew she would never take. The card had no lecture in it. I had written only this: for every horizon you are brave enough to draw. The next morning, Nora called before sunrise. Caleb had not come home until late. When he did, he said I was trying to embarrass him in front of a potential investor. He told her the business meeting would save his company, and that I had always resented his wanting more than a regular job. Did he tell you what he needed from you? I asked. Nora's voice went thin. He asked me to smile and say, we were all excited to have you join the business after the trip. I thought he meant you were thinking about helping him. I am not. I know that now. There was no anger in her voice, only a tired kind of clarity. I am taking Lucy to the terminal, she said. The three of us are still going to board. She has waited too long for this. But I will not sit through a dinner and pretend I understand a plan no one has shown me. That is your decision, I told her. I know. It mattered that she said it that way. I told Nora I would come only long enough to give Lucy her bag and say goodbye. I would not make a speech. I would not corner Caleb. I would not ask Lucy to take sides. If Caleb had an investor waiting, Caleb could decide whether he wanted the truth in the room. The terminal was already crowded when I arrived. Families rolled suitcases across the bright floor. Children leaned against windows to watch the ship rise beyond the parking deck, white and impossibly tall against the gray morning sky. For a moment, I wished I could have been only a grandfather with a blue bag in his hand. Then I saw Lucy. She was standing near a column with a camera around her neck, looking older than she had any right to look. Her hair was pinned up in the careless way young people manage without a mirror. When she saw me, her face opened. "Grandpa," she said. She came toward me so quickly that her suitcase tipped over behind her. I hugged her with one arm because the blue bag was between us. "I thought you were not coming," she said. "I came to bring you something." She saw the bag and her eyes filled before she touched it. "You remembered. I remember everything your grandmother made for you." Lucy pressed her hand against the red sail. "Dad said you were tired of traveling." I looked past her. Caleb was standing near the check-in desks, watching us. Nora stood a few feet away with both hands around the handle of her suitcase. "I am tired of being told stories about people I love," I said softly. "But I am not tired of you." Lucy looked from me to her parents. She was 18, old enough to hear the difference between words adults use and the feelings beneath them. Nora came closer. "Your grandpa is not sailing this time," she told Lucy, "but your trip is still happening. He paid for it because he loves you." Caleb's jaw tightened. Before anyone could say more, a man in a navy blazer approached from the lounge beside the boarding line. He carried a slim leather folder and wore the relaxed smile of someone who expected the room to welcome him. "Mr. Price," he said, looking at Caleb first. Caleb's expression changed so quickly that I almost missed it. Then the man turned toward me. "You must be Harlan Price. I am glad to finally meet you. Caleb has spoken about the family's backing with real gratitude." Lucy looked at me. Nora did too. Caleb stepped forward. "This is the investor I mentioned." The man held out his hand. I shook it because he had done nothing wrong. "I understand we will have time to discuss the expansion plan over dinner," he said. "Caleb showed me how you and he intend to share responsibility once the new funding is in place." The hallway seemed to narrow around us. Caleb gave me a look that was almost a plea. I thought of every time I had rescued a smaller version of him from a mistake. I thought of the bicycle I had repaired after he left it in the rain. The school fee I had paid when he forgot the deadline. The rent I had covered when Lucy was a baby, and he promised it would be the last time. Love had made me useful to him. That did not mean love required me to become false. "I have not seen an expansion plan," I said. The investor's smile faded, but only a little. "Caleb said you were reviewing it together. He also said you had set aside a $75,000 family reserve to stand behind the first 6 months." "No," I said. "There is no reserve. I paid for my granddaughter's cruise. I did not agree to finance a business." Caleb spoke quickly. "Dad, that is not what he means. We were just talking about the family being emotionally behind me." The investor looked from him to me. "Then perhaps I misunderstood the material," he said. He opened the leather folder. I did not need to reach for it. I could see the first page from where I stood. The name of Caleb's company was at the top. Beneath it, in blue print large enough for everyone standing there to read, were the words, Harlan Price Family Guarantee. There was a small chart beside it. It showed a contribution from me, a reserve promised by me, and a future role for me as an advisor. My stomach did not drop. It settled. There it was. The reason he needed me absent until the moment he could place me in front of a stranger and hope politeness would do the rest. The hospitality package had never been about a dinner. It had been a stage. Nora reached for the folder. The investor handed it to her without a word. She read the page once, then again. "Caleb," she said, "what is this?" He looked at the boarding line, at the ship, at Lucy holding the blue bag against her chest. "It is a draft," he said. "Nothing was final. My father-in-law did not know about it," Nora said. "I was going to explain it after the trip." "You used his name before you explained it. I needed the meeting." The investor closed the folder gently. "I do not mind risk," he said. "I mind surprises about who is carrying it. I will not board a ship to negotiate with a family whose guarantor did not know he was one." Caleb's face went pale. "Please," he said, "you do not understand the whole picture. I understand enough to postpone this." The man replied. Then he folded the briefing page inside the folder, nodded once to me, and stepped away toward the terminal doors. He did not shout. He did not threaten Caleb. He simply left the deal where Caleb had built it. On a foundation that was not there, Caleb watched him go. For the first time that morning, no one rushed in to soften the moment for him. Lucy looked down at the blue bag. "I thought this was just a family cruise," she said. "It was supposed to be," Nora answered. Caleb turned to me. "You could have handled that differently." I felt the old urge to defend myself rise up. Then I looked at Lucy, at Nora, and at the long line moving slowly toward the ship. "I handled my own name honestly," I said. "What you do with yours is still your choice." Nora's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. "You told Harlan I did not want him there," she said. "You told me he chose not to come. You used his card for a meeting you did not tell us about. And you put his money into a plan he had never seen." "I was trying to get us ahead," Caleb said, "by putting us behind a lie." He had no answer for that. The boarding announcement sounded overhead. It was cheerful and bright, almost ridiculous in that moment. Lucy held out the blue bag to me. "Should we still go?" she asked. The question was not really mine to answer. She looked at her mother next. Nora took a breath. "This trip was your grandfather's gift," she said. "You and I are going to take it. We will have the week we were promised." "You cannot take her away from me." "I am not taking her away from you," Nora said. "I am refusing to make her carry this." She looked at the boarding passes in her hand. "The basic cabins are paid. The art program is paid. Lucy and I are boarding. You told us this company could not survive without that investor. If that is true, then stay and face what you did instead of taking another week to hide from it." Caleb's shoulders fell. He looked suddenly younger and much older at the same time. He looked through the glass doors at the ship. Then he looked at the investor's empty chair in the lounge. "I cannot get on that ship and leave this," he said. "Then do not," Nora replied. "Call the people you owe. Tell them what happened before Lucy comes home and asks what changed." Caleb nodded once. It was not a dramatic surrender. It was the first practical thing he had said all morning. No one applauded. No one nearby seemed to know what had happened. Families kept moving, rolling their bags toward the bright doorway to the ship. That was mercy in its own way. I gave Lucy the blue sail bag. Inside, beneath the sketchbook and watercolor pencils, she found my card. She read it silently. Then she hugged me again, this time with the bag pressed between us. "I will draw the moon on the back of the ship," she whispered. "Draw what you see," I told her. "Not what anyone tells you are supposed to see." Nora thanked me for not canceling the trip. "I did not keep it for us. I kept it for Lucy and for you." Once I understood. Caleb stood a few feet away. He looked as if he wanted to speak, but nothing he could say in that terminal would repair the damage he had done. I did not ask for an apology before the family reached the boarding line. An apology made under the fear of losing a ship was not the kind I needed. I watched Nora and Lucy enter the boarding line together. Caleb remained by the luggage scale with his phone in his hand. No investor, no private dinner, and no borrowed story about a father who would carry him. When the ship pulled away that evening, I stood at the edge of the parking garage where a few families had gathered to wave. I could not see Lucy from that distance. I could only see the rows of lit windows rising above the water. I had let them board. I had not let my name board with a lie. The travel agent called 2 days later. The hospitality package had been cancelled. No charge reached my card. That was all I needed from the travel fund. Lucy sent a watercolor of the ocean at dusk, with one red sail near the corner. A blue bag hung from the back of her cabin chair. I saved the picture. Caleb did not call while they were away. Nora did once, from a quiet deck after Lucy had gone to the art room. She said he had finally admitted that he never intended to use my money, only my reputation. That is not better, I said. No, she replied, it is not. Before the ship sailed, Caleb had admitted that his company had been short on cash for months. He had used part of their shared savings for vendor payments, then told himself an investor would solve the problem before anyone noticed. When the investor wanted evidence of support, Caleb had turned our family into a picture he could hold up. I felt sad for him. I also knew tears were not a repayment plan. When they came home a week later, I did not rush to their house. I gave them time to unpack more than suitcases. Caleb came to see me the following Sunday. He stood on the porch for a long time before I opened the door. He looked tired, not dramatically changed. Just tired in the plain way people look when they have stopped spending energy on the story they wanted others to believe. I am sorry, he said. I let him come inside, but I did not offer him coffee right away. Some conversations deserve an empty table. He told me he had met with the investor after the cruise. The man had declined the deal. Caleb had started working with an accountant to list what the company owed and what he personally owed. He had taken a temporary job with an old supplier while he decided whether the business could continue without borrowed appearances. I should have asked you for advice, he said. I should have told Nora the truth. I should never have used your name. No, I said, you should not have. He nodded. Then he asked whether I would consider helping him cover the bills until he got through the next few months. There it was. The old road, waiting for my feet. I looked at the side door key on the table beside my chair. Caleb had returned it when he came in. I had not asked him to. He had set it there quietly, as if he finally understood that a key was not just a piece of metal. I will not lend you money, I said. His face tightened, but he did not argue. I will help you make a list of the people you owe, I continued. I will sit with you while you call them. I will help you find a lawyer if you need one. But I will not hide debt under my house, my card, my name, or Lucy's future. He looked down at the key. I understand. Do you? He nodded again, slower this time. I do not expect you to trust me. That is honest, I said. Keep being honest when it costs you something. We sat in silence for a while. It was not forgiveness. It was not the old comfort of a father fixing a problem before dinner. But it was more real than the picture Caleb had tried to sell at the terminal. Nora and Lucy came by the following month. Nora had opened a separate account for her paychecks and was meeting with a counselor. She did not tell me whether she would stay with Caleb. I did not ask her to decide her marriage on my timetable. Lucy brought the blue sail bag. It had paint on one corner now, purple and gold and a little green. She apologized for it before I could say anything. Your grandmother would have liked that, I told her. Lucy smiled. I used it at the art program. Then I used it at school. I have a piece in the student show next week. The show was held in a community room above the library. I stood in front of Lucy's painting with Nora beside me. It showed the ship from the stern, the water stretching behind it in bands of blue and gray. Near the lower corner was the little red sail from the bag. What is that part? I asked her. The part you can choose, Lucy said. I looked at the painting for a long time. Caleb came to the show too. He stood at the back until Lucy noticed him. Then she went to him. That was her choice, not mine. When he came over later, he did not ask for a key. He did not ask for money. He only said the painting was beautiful. I agreed. The blue sail bag rested at Lucy's feet, crooked red sail facing the room. My wife had made it for a child who wanted to see beyond the porch, and years later it had carried a sketchbook across an ocean without carrying one grown man's lie with it. That was enough for me.